Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX TV in San Francisco, and Russell Jackman. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And we're still in football for the last just a little bit of time, so we're going to go with Super Bowl questions. And Vern, I can't hear you. We have to get Vern's audio up there.
Yeah, last week I was the one who was having audio troubles. Yeah. Now it's poor Vern.
That's right. So, and let's see here.
How about now?
Yeah,
now that's better.
Fine. Okay.
I was about to say, this is our version of Radio Row, Super Bowl week.
Yeah, that's right.
No, we're not interviewing the cousins of cheerleaders, because by this time they've run out of guests. And the Radio Row has some of the worst guests in that second week plus.
And every one of these guests that come by, because I did a story on it a year ago today, they're pimping something, whether it's Tootsie Roll or Hardee's hamburgers, whatever. They're pimping something.
It's true. It's true.
And the handlers just whisk them on through table to table to table because all the tables are right next to each other. Now this version of Radio Row, it's socially distanced, so it's a lot more watered down. But last year, it was a zoo.
Did you get a lot of swag?
You get not really.
Really?
No, not really. I mean, you get the shake of somebody's hand. Hey, thanks for stopping by.
Oh. Okay.
That was about it.
As a listener, there's nothing worse than the second week before the Super Bowl. It's the worst radio or TV of the year. There's no question.
Because everybody's got a take. Everybody says, well, I see this. Well, I see that. Well,
and you've heard 2 weeks of it.
Yeah.
You've heard 2 weeks of it. Yeah. It's enough. I liked it when it was just 1 week and then away we went.
It's a good thing if this show airs the day before the Super Bowl. So we're
like geniuses.
Completely fresh to the viewing and listening audience.
That's it. All right. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman. Guys, where do you want to start off? We got a lot to talk about.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how weird this whole Super Bowl week is. I mean, everything is watered down. From the NFL experience, we talked about Radio Row. The teams, well, Tampa's at home, so, I mean, these guys are sleeping in their beds. And they're going to practice across the street from Raymond James Stadium. And in the case of the Kansas City Chiefs, they are arriving when this show airs the day before the game.
Now,
so it's just a weird week.
Is there usually like about 70 to 80,000 fans in a typical Super Bowl stadium?
Right.
Okay, and this time I think they're limiting it to
22,000.
22,000, okay. And 7,500 of them are apparently going to be healthcare workers. I guess they're sort of being blessed with that. So now you're talking about only 14,500 tickets to go to, the general public, so to speak, right?
You know who's going to be at that game? The entire Tom Brady family. Mom, dad, sisters, brother-in-laws, nieces, nephews, they're all coming.
Yeah, that's right. How many tickets are the players given on something like that?
Tickets are good. Yeah, players get a certain allotment, and then if you want more, then you gotta do some wheeling and dealing within the team.
So how many non-family related, just regular old fans will get the opportunity to go? Because here's what I'm getting at is that in theory, usually, and this usually happens, ticket prices soar in the beginning and then they start to kind of level out. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of been the same this way, but it hasn't been like a tremendous, you think, well, with that limitation there, tickets would be super skyrocketing. Hasn't happened. And I'm wondering, one, if it's just the idea of COVID, people are just saying, you know what, I just don't want to be, I don't care if it's a Super Bowl or not, I don't want to do that. Because the tickets were $8,000 to just get in, and $63,000 for a Chiefs sideline pair, and now it's fallen, instead of $8,000, it's falling down to $6,000.
Sure.
So hey, I'll buy 3 at those prices.
Well, you go on to, I don't know if it's Ticketmaster or one of those places, you go on to, but you.
I mean, think about all the things that are not going to be there at a typical Super Bowl. There's not going to be that huge party atmosphere, throughout the city of Tampa Bay. There's not going to be, the crazy after parties that happen all the. I mean, I'm sure there will be some, but it's not going to be all over the place. I mean, I remember when the Super Bowl was here for number 50 in San Francisco. There was just stuff happening left and right all 2 weeks long. There was stuff going on every night, big parties, you know, major celebrities doing things.
Yeah, we went to Lee Steinberg had a big shebang in downtown San Francisco, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I got my invite for his virtual party the other day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I was not invited.
Oh, well, we'll have to work on that for next year. I mean, it's just a virtual party, so I don't know what it's really going to be.
Even as
but I feel bad because normally you have the Playboy party, you have the Victoria's Secret party, you have the NFL Commissioners party. There's so many parties, but not so much. Not throughout the city of Tampa.
But it's interesting because Florida is more quote open than a lot of other states. So, but it's still going to be the generic.
But there's also I don't think a lot of just. I mean, obviously the Kansas City Chief fans are big, but I mean, this is Tom Brady's first year with Tampa Bay, so it's not like the New England crowd that was always following Tom Brady everywhere he went and would pay anything to see him. Brady doesn't have that kind of history with Tampa Bay. So I think that's another reason why people aren't going crazy over the tickets. It's yet another Tom Brady Super Bowl. I mean, we've seen 10 of them, so it's not as if that's a rare commodity anymore for people that don't get enough Tom Brady.
Yeah, but
and there are those who have the FU money that they say, I don't care, I'm going. And then there's a lot of people here in this country that are afraid of the super spreader Super Bowl party. Hey, come on over. We're on top of each other. We're watching the commercials.
And the people that used to have FU money now are a lot less rude about the money. It's more like be not a
little bit more.
Frick you money instead of FU money.
Wait, what'd you call it?
Frick you money.
Oh, trick you money.
No, frick. Or freak you money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What you say when you don't want your kids knowing that you're swearing.
That's right. Staying on football for just a minute here. What do you think about the Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford?
Woo! Wow.
Big time.
That was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
It came out of left field.
Yeah. I didn't see it coming. I understand why the Rams did what they did. I mean, Rams are in kind of a win now mode, and they feel that Stafford is that much of an upgrade that Stafford can get them there because he can make all the throws. He can make plays. He has put up numbers on very poor teams because he really hasn't had any help.
I think
never been to a Super Bowl.
Their confidence in Goff sunk like a stone.
I mean, he really didn't show any much after. I mean, even obviously, I guess starting with the Super Bowl where they just didn't do much. He just seemed tentative.
To be honest, I think the 49ers helped get him fired.
Why is that?
Well, they certainly had the formula to tear him apart.
Swept by the 49ers, I think, was something that looked so bad on his record this year that they were like, you know what, if you can't beat the 49ers, we got to go another direction.
So, and what do they get? Stafford and what, 2 first-round?
Two future first-round picks. Future first-round picks, a third-round pick this year. And, hey, good luck. Because now the pressure is all on the Rams to go out there and dominate.
And there's
no excuses now.
I don't think they are. And
they got a great defense, man. They feel like they have all the weapons they need now.
Yeah, their defense showed a lot better this year than it did before.
But they have lost a lot of what made them a great team and, got to the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that they've changed too much. That window is so small for being a Super Bowl winning team.
Yep.
Unless you're New England and had Tom Brady at hand.
Well, they traded their star running back a couple of years ago, didn't they?
I will go on record and I say that Jared Goff doesn't ever go to another Super Bowl as a quarterback.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Where's he landing?
Oh, supposedly the Jets.
The Rockets.
Which one?
The Rockets.
The Rockets.
Because that's the last place where another superstar said he had to get traded. So he should stay in Houston, but they should move him over to the Rockets and have him take over a James Harden spot.
Well, trade him for Garoppolo one-on-one. What do you think?
Well, that would be up to Deshaun Watson. Doesn't he have the right to decide?
No, he doesn't. Actually, it's not. He doesn't have a right to cancel out a trade.
He dropped his no trade clause.
Yeah, I don't think. I think he wants out that badly. It's a matter of Houston. What Houston?
Well, I mean, if you have your no trade clause, then you have the right to say, well, no, I'm not going there. I mean, you can drop it whenever you want, can't you? Counselor?
I think he said that he just wants out of Houston so badly that he's willing to waive his no trade clause to wherever Houston can find. It's more of a matter of Houston demanding too much for him that's keeping him from being traded.
But Houston the other day said he's not going to go anywhere. I mean,
that's what was said about James Harden, right?
Yeah. That's always kind of tough when you have if the player doesn't want to play with you, for your team, and you go.
That player always gets traded.
Because otherwise he's not going to be productive.
Anthony Davis wasn't going to be traded off of New Orleans, right? New Orleans said that Anthony Davis wasn't going anywhere.
Wow.
I say he goes somewhere. I say he goes to a team in the South. He grew up in the South. I mean, that's his root. That's what he knows.
Maybe the Dolphins. Okay.
I think it's somewhere in the South.
Okay. Here's our first trivia question, guys. Talking Super Bowl. Who was the first quarterback to start a Super Bowl against his former team? That's kind of a fun one. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. Who was the first quarterback to start a Super Bowl against his former team? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman and Vern Glenn. Our first trivia question, it was a little bit of a stumper. Who was the first quarterback? In fact, I'm not even sure who was the second one, but who was the first quarterback to start a Super Bowl against his former team?
Wow.
I'm just trying to think myself.
5.
Jim Plunkett?
No. It was Craig Morton from the Cowboys, and then remember the Orange Crush, the Broncos.
I forgot that he was a quarterback to take the Broncos to the
Morton was the starting quarterback for the Cowboys.
Well, it says who was the first?
1978.
Yeah.
Denver against Dallas.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a stumper.
That's a good one. It also it's funny because we were talking to Deshaun Watson in the last segment. He removed the Texans from social media. So what does that tell you?
That tells me that he is bound and determined to never play for the Houston Texans ever again.
And what was his reason besides just being on a team that was just kept unfortunately losing? I mean, did he not like the player personnel, any of that stuff?
He did not like the fact that he was not involved in certain personnel decisions and free agents to the team. He just wasn't consulted at all. And he felt like as the quarterback of the team, as the leader of the team, he thought that they should, bring him in to say, hey, what do you think? And so I think he was put off by that. Other issues, I don't know. But
that's interesting.
From the moment he signs with the new team at that first press conference, that will be one of the first few questions thrown his way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I were the general manager, I would include. I wouldn't necessarily give him veto power, but I would say, hey, we're thinking about bringing on this guy. What do you think? Because who knows if there's personality clashes or if it doesn't fit into the into the system well. Let's see here. Just a little bit of a tidbit here. So, EA, the guys who, have the games.
Electric Arts.
Yep, that's exactly. They're coming out with a college football game in 2022, but without any names. So that they don't have, they're not going to have to pay the NCAA or the players. Because
they're just going to have teams in the schools, just the numbers, but no names.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they might not be able to use even the the team, right? They can't say it's like the LSU Tigers. They may call it the LSM Jaguars or something. You know what I mean? It's sort of a hint, because they don't want to run into the same Ed O'Bannon lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
With these
Wow,
players.
but what fun is that when you're a player? You're going to have to sit there and name every single player. It's all going to be Smith, Smith, Smith,
Yeah.
Jones.
Maybe I thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see here.
Just shows you what money can do, man. You know?
Yeah. Well, it was $40 million lawsuit. You know,
But they make more than $40 million on these games.
Yeah, but a lot of it had to do with just the NCAA. You know, with using Ed O'Bannon's likeness, not paying him. So it wasn't just the games. I guess it was sort of the three parties in there, right? The player, the NCAA, and then the company that comes out with the games. What do you guys think about the Major League Baseball proposing delaying the season by a month and going back to, in 1961, 154 games, but the players will still get paid, their full pay?
Now, is that etched in stone that
No.
they're going to delay it?
No,
because I had heard that they were close to starting on time, but it would still be 154 games, so the players would get full salary.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because, I think about the last time they played 154 games was the year before Roger Maris beat Babe Ruth's home run record.
Mm-hmm.
And had they played 154 games, he wouldn't have broken the record. That's why there was an asterisk after the 61,
I like the 154. I mean, you still play your certain assortment, you still play your rivals, you still play your division.
Yeah, it's only 7 games. Or
yeah.
I'm sorry, 8 games, 162. It's only 8 games difference. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, no more comments.
I'm just glad it's going to be a season. Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whether they're going to be able to play the whole thing through, I mean, but maybe it helps to have those 8 less games so they can shift around the schedule if they have to.
Yeah.
Don't they want an extended postseason?
Right.
On the back end?
This year, yeah.
Yeah.
So what, some more wild card games?
So, somehow, some way, they'll make up that money.
Maybe it'll be a best out of 11 for the World Series. Hey, they used
back in the 1910, 19 wasn't it best of 9?
9.
Something like that?
9. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's a little bit too much. I love baseball.
I know.
There was some. I remember hearing some comment somewhere about somebody saying, "Yeah, I gave up on baseball," and I think it had something to do with like COVID. But I'm thinking, okay, I'm not sure why why they made that comment. You heard anything about specifically baseballs compared to the other sports regarding COVID? Like, what's the big deal? I mean, they don't have fans in a lot of the stadiums in general, so I don't know. That's just off the cuff. All right, but Abdul-Jabbar thinks some NBA players should jump the line for COVID vaccines. And when he says some, he's considering like high-profile players like LeBron James and Steph Curry for reasons of vaccine awareness, specifically in the Black communities. I don't know if you heard that. So he's
when you say jump the line, you like move up in line, and say, hey, I deserve the vaccine more than you.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's Charles Barkley-ish. He's the one that came. He took all kinds of heat for just saying, hey, if you're an NBA player, high salary player, you deserve to get they deserve to get COVID vaccinations first.
And now, is it because they can afford it, or because they're playing in more of a challenging situation where you can?
Well, they're his thing is they're delivering a public service because they're entertaining the audience, most of which are home.
Yeah.
And it's entertainment.
Without the bubble, without a bubble situation, they are putting themselves and everyone they're traveling with at risk, and they could be spreading it across the United States. So in that sense, I don't mind it, but I don't like the idea that they go ahead of other people. But in that sense, I think maybe they should be made a priority, but we don't want the optics to be that the rich people are the ones getting shots.
I am totally in line with you there, Mr. Jackman, for the exact same reasons. I on one hand, I think it is smart because anything that you can do to make the virus dissipate is a good thing. However, it just gives the appearance that these people are pushed ahead of everyone else.
Right? Yeah, you don't want to get into a situation where it's like Hey, Mac, here's a couple of hundreds. Well, let me just bump up in line here.
Well, there's already, I think, vaccines going on the black market.
Wow.
But I, you know what,
That sounds really safe.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, here, and in fact, let's share a needle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know. I keep hearing all these scary stories of people having all these weird reactions after getting.
Yeah, if the guy comes with a Gatorade jar to your house,
yeah,
and says, "Here's your vaccine," I'd be suspicious.
Yeah.
or the guy that rolls up with it, opens the trench coat.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, look, I got all these needles here.
That's right. But for an extra $500, you can have the one that doesn't hurt so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like when you get a flu shot, or don't they give you a little tiny bit of the flu or chicken pox?
Yeah. So your immune system can attack it.
Yeah. But essentially,
so I thought this is what these things do, though.
Probably, but I'm gonna guess. I'm not a doctor, so I'm just gonna kind of guess that for people who are having bad reactions, maybe there's just a little bit too much of that.
Where their immune system can't take it.
Yeah, or their immune system can't stop it, even the deactivated virus that they have. But you're right. If even just a little bit comes in that's contaminated, it could.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Vern, did you get you got a vaccine shot, right?
No, I had I got COVID, bro.
Yeah, he's just superhuman.
I got the big Rona.
You got the big
so I've taken it on and I have licked it.
Yeah.
So I got antibodies in here, man. We're fighting.
Now,
I'm good.
I know you look good, you sound good, and everything. Now, does that mean that you're not a person who should get it or will get it? The vaccine, or
I think my situation is that I'm not susceptible to getting it again because of the antibodies have been built up, and that my immune system just muscled up like that, and I was able to overcome it after quarantining for 14 days.
Now, we don't know about the new strains, though.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So maybe I could get that, but for this regular strain.
Yeah. For those of you who couldn't see, Vern just put his hand right up to the camera.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, you guys ready for our second trivia question on Super Bowls?
All right, let's go.
All right, you're going to like this one. Minnesota Vikings legend Fran Tarkenton is sometimes erroneously referred to as the quarterback to lose 4 Super Bowls, when in fact he was not a member of the team when they made their first appearance, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, which I was very depressed on because I was a big Vikings fan back then, in Super Bowl 4. Who was Minnesota's starting quarterback in that game? You know that one.
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
I'm looking at Russell, and there's still kind of a glaring look out there.
Super Bowl 4. What year was that?
1970.
70.
So I was 3 years old. Okay.
That's no excuse. You should be a
That was
football player
10.
when you're born. All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman. And we have a trivia question here that Mr. Glenn knows the answer.
Uh-huh.
Minnesota Vikings legend Fran Tarkenton is sometimes erroneously referred to as the first quarterback to lose 4 Super Bowls, when in fact he was not a member of the team when they made, because I think he was with the Giants at the time, when they made their first appearance, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 4. Who was Minnesota's starting quarterback in that game?
Well, first of all, I'll start dropping the clues, and I just want to see how far Mr. Jackman gets before he goes, "Oh, that guy."
Yeah.
He was the former head coach of the California Golden Bears on the sidelines for the famous 1982 The Play. That's a huge clue.
Yeah, which your friend, and he played for Cal too, didn't he?
He did.
He did. And a friend of mine was a middle linebacker.
And he had a sports bar in Mountain View by his name.
All I can remember is that Len Dawson was the winning quarterback, but I don't.
But the losing quarterback was Joe Kapp.
Oh.
Joe Kapp, yeah.
Former 49er.
No.
Joe Kapp wasn't a 49er? Oh, okay.
No. He was after his playing days were over, he got into coaching, then was a head coach of the California Golden Bears. And he's the one that famously said that the bear will never die.
No, but he did play for a second team in the NFL, didn't he?
Oh, I'm sure he did,
Okay.
but it wasn't the 49ers.
Was it 49ers? Okay. Huh. He didn't play for the Raiders either. No, that was Jim Plunkett who played for both teams.
That is
so good.
correct.
Not so good when he with the 49ers because he was kind of on his way. Because
But he started off with the Boston
Patriots. Very good. That's
after winning the Heisman Trophy
from the Super
Stanford.
Rose Bowl. I remember that. Good deal. All right, guys. Any more Super Bowl stuff you want to cover here? I mean, you got what do you think? Okay, what's the final score going to be? 37-17, Kansas City.
Well, I don't know. I mean, as much as I love friend of the program Lee Steinberg,
yeah,
and although he did blow me off last week, or at least his handlers did, and he is the agent for Pat Mahomes, I kind of have to go with hometown boy. I kind of
really.
I want to somehow want to see this ending with Tom Brady winning another one. Could be his last one.
I don't know. He says he's going to play probably until he's age 45, which is a couple more years. I mean, it is amazing his body can.
And his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Brady, they came on with me last week. So there you go.
Yeah,
a little personal.
You can't go against them, right?
But as far as the game goes, I mean, as with every Super Bowl, it's going to come down with 2 or 3 plays that tell the story of the game, and who's just going to execute more, who's not going to make that key mistake. And right now, if you just look at it on a paper, the Chiefs have so many weapons to go out there and win that game. But
are there any major
defense isn't as good as Tampa Bay's, and Tampa Bay seems to be getting stronger and more confident every game they play with Tom Brady, because they've got the defense behind him too. And I mean, you look at the legends that Tom Brady has dismantled on his way up the ladder to face Pat Mahomes. I mean, he's taken out Breeze. He's taken out Aaron Rodgers, and as good
all
as
on the road.
Yeah,
all on the road. And now they get a home game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going with Tampa on this one. Not because I'm enthusiastic about it, and I've had about as much. I feel like the kid that's eaten nothing but oatmeal for like a week.
The two teams did play in the regular season. I believe it was week 6.
Yeah.
Chiefs won that game. I believe it was maybe Brady's worst game with Tampa. I mean, they had some poor breakdowns in that game, but they never lost again to this day. So
that's a good point.
Shoot, that's 10 in a row, plus the playoffs. Then that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Bucks been on a roll.
Any major injuries on either team at this point?
Not that I can think
of. The 2 tackles for the Chiefs are backup tackles, and a report came out that 2 other Chiefs are going to miss the game. I'm not sure if it's COVID related. So,
and I told you that Mahomes' concussion was just on paper. Yeah. There was no way that they were going to not let him play in that game. And now talk of that concussion is as far distant.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look even – and when you look at the actual play, it didn't really look like he got hit that hard. Again, you never know what goes on. But, I mean, there's ones when you can just see a guy getting hit hard and you go, okay, yeah, I can see that concussion. His was a little bit, a little bit to the side, and it didn't seem to rattle.
We'll find out in 20 years how much.
Well, that's true. That's a whole different animal there.
And here's the other factor to think about. Andy Reid. I mean, you give him 2 weeks to prepare. I mean, he hardly ever loses, and he is an awesome, awesome play caller. And maybe ultimately that's the factor in that one.
Yeah, let's see. When Philadelphia beat New England in the Super Bowl, wasn't Andy Reid with Philadelphia at that time?
No,
he had moved over to KC.
He'd already been in KC.
Yeah, he was in Kansas City. It was Doug Peterson, right?
Right, he's now looking for a job.
That's right.
Yeah. Remember that was the famous pass to Nick Foles.
Yeah, quarterback.
Yeah.
Quarterback hoop.
Yep.
Yeah, he really hasn't done too much. Same thing with Carson Wentz. They're just kind of like,
Look, Jared Goff will probably tell a sad story about, being the Dan Marino of his era, being one and done, and, look back on his career. And I'm beginning to feel that Garoppolo might be part of that same group of just guys that, like a Stan Humphries, that gets to one Super Bowl in their career and you never hear from them again.
Here's the question. Here's the question. Will Jimmy Garoppolo be under center when the 2021 season begins for the 49ers?
Nope.
Edward says no.
No.
I think he is, because the options for the Niners are really running dry. I mean, you think they're going to trade for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, no. I mean, the Packers aren't going to let him go.
Guy. I don't know.
If you're the 49ers, it's one or the other. Either it's Kirk Cousins, or they completely mortgage their future and enter the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. It's one or the other.
No, there are two.
But in all this talk that we've been doing and experts have been doing, no one's heard from the 49ers. Not one word throughout this whole thing. And I've been around the game long enough to know that usually when that happens, nothing happens. And then at that first press conference, when somebody brings it up, whether it's Shanahan or whether it's John Lynch, they go, what are you talking about? I mean,
we have no idea.
Because they don't read newspapers, they don't watch TV, they don't listen to talk radio. They're just in a complete cone of silence bubble with just football 24/7. How can we improve this team?
Gotcha. Yeah, because you got to look at all the players, not just who's under center. I was looking also. Tua is thinking about he may not be with the Dolphins next year. Maybe all because of this Deshaun Watson type stuff and all this. But
it's so fluid. I mean, if the Texans come to the Dolphins and go, hey, we'll give you Deshaun Watson, just give us two. I'm sure that's something plus some compensation. I'm sure that who knows that phone conversation may have already occurred.
Yeah, because Tua still seems like he's still young and all that, but he's
young. He's young. He's got everything in front of him. But then so does Deshaun Watson.
But Houston is insisting on getting 2 starting defensive players as well, plus draft picks. And so I think that's a real stickler for most teams. I mean, I think a lot of teams would consider trading their starting quarterback and maybe draft picks like the way that the Rams did. But they don't want to give up 2 defensive starters. I mean, if they were talking 49ers, that would probably be like Nick Bosa and another top, Fred Warner or someone like that. And there's no way that the Niners could afford.
But it's kind of interesting. So you got Deshaun Watson, who the quarterback for Texans is kind of going, I don't want to play here anymore, trade me. And then you get someone like Goff, who just gets sort of blindsided. And, hey, guy, we don't really want you anymore. We're trading you.
Welcome to the business of the NFL.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I can appreciate that Goff made the comment that he says, well, I want to play for a team who wants me. And that's kind of nice, I mean,
if you're the Houston Texans, I don't listen to anybody that's not talking about let's start with 2 first rounders and let's go from there. I mean, that's the opening conversation right there. That's the first price to pay, and you go up from there.
At least Goff going to the Lions. It's not like he's going to the Lions, 4 years ago when they were like, goop.
Well, they're still goop. They're still like that.
Yeah.
They just got a brand new. They just got a brand new head coach. I mean, they're stripping it down to the bearings.
Yeah, see you on Thanksgiving, Jared.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, now we get to see him every Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
that might be the only time.
Yeah, in fact, that was one of our potential trivia questions. What 2 teams can you say never play against each other on a certain day? And it would be the Cowboys and the Lions.
And here's the one. You guys are going to get this one. Matthew Stafford, thrilled to be in Los Angeles. And you know who else is thrilled? His former baseball high school teammate. You know who that is? Clayton Kershaw.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, high school teammates.
Wow. Okay,
now they're playing in the same city.
Both throwing fireballs. Yeah. I like Matthew Stafford. I think he's what is he, 31 now? He's
30.
Well, the Niners were looking at really, they were, at least there was a lot in the rumor mill that the Niners wanted him, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is a lateral move. We've already seen what Kirk Cousins looked like against the 49ers a couple of years ago, and Garoppolo certainly had a better game.
But
Although
Cousins knows
mostly all he did
Shanahan's
was hand off.
system. Cousins knows Shanahan's system when Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, the team that blew that lead in the Super Bowl.
I'd rather have Matt Ryan in that circumstance.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
More helpful.
Fortunately, we don't get a say in the matter.
That's right.
We just
Jackson.
get to turn on the TV and watch it all unfold.
That's right.
But I wonder if Niner fans are going to be disappointed if Garoppolo is the starting quarterback, with all the rumor mills that ran around this off season.
You think 49er Empire is just going to stop watching? Oh,
no, not that. They'll be disappointed. No, they'll be disappointed. They'll watch.
Let's watch that Bonanza rerun.
Yeah, there you go.
But the first interception that Garoppolo throws, and if it then turns into, you see,
or if he fumbles.
Yeah, or if Jared Goff, wins.
Well, they all throw interceptions. They all fumble.
Yeah, but
they all do it
more than others, though. Hey, guys, going to our last trivia question here. The Dallas Cowboys were the first winner in history to return to the Super Bowl the following year and lose, winning Super Bowl 12 against Denver and losing 13 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Which franchise became the second to accomplish this dubious feat?
Wait, ask the question again.
Okay, so the Cowboys were the first winner in Super Bowl history to return to the Super Bowl year and lose. So they won against Denver. They came back the next year. They lost to Pittsburgh. Okay.
If you dial it back even further, they lost to the Colts, came back, and then beat the Dolphins. Super Bowl 5 and 6.
That is true, but that's losing and winning. We're talking about winning. And
you want winning and then losing.
Losing, yeah. So which is the second team to accomplish that? So they beat a team, and then they lost the next year to a different team in the Super Bowl. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101 last time. For today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vernon Glenn and Russell Jackman. Our third trivia question. The Dallas Cowboys were the first winner in history to return to the Super Bowl the following year and lose. So they beat Denver Broncos with Craig Morton. Then the next year they came back and lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Which franchise became the second to accomplish this feat?
My guess is the New England Patriots.
Mine would be the Dolphins.
No. The answer to no to either one of those. I know you would have thought that the New England Patriots. No.
Yeah, because they came back. That was an unbeaten year, and they lost to the Giants.
Yeah, no, but there was another team to do it before that they made it in the third one to do that.
Wow.
So who was what team was the second team to win in the Super Bowl, come back the next year and lose?
Broncos?
No, that's what I thought, but that was actually after. That was in the 90s because they
Washington.
Lost. What's that?
Washington?
Yes.
Washington Redskins?
Yeah, the Washington
Redskins.
So they defeated the Dolphins. I think it was 83.
Okay, so I knew it involved the Dolphins.
Yes, it involved the Dolphins. And then they beat the Raiders, or they lost to the Raiders. So they beat the Dolphins. They lost. Remember with John Riggins and all that? And then they lost to the Raiders.
The Riggo drill.
Okay, you guys ready for a few puns for the day?
Let's go.
Never.
Why did the Cyclops close his school? He only had one pupil.
Oh, I thought he claimed.
And okay, so get this. So the wife texts the husband on a cold winter morning. Windows frozen, won't open. Husband texts back, pour some lukewarm water over it, then gently tap the edges with a hammer.
So much for the laptop.
Wife texts back, she says, laptop really messed up now.
Get those
Very
calls
funny.
every once in a while.
Very funny.
I was going to say, Mr. Jackman being in the computer business, of course he knows that stuff. All right. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We'll be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Good night, America.